Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormybman for this Monday, February 24th, 2025. This is number 115 in the series of Nerds Productions, and we are finally getting around to the subject that we were supposed to have last week, as we wanted to jump on the Captain America Brave New World film since we had a chance to check it out and give our review of it and everything. And that was supposed to be a prelim into this, but it went kind of further. But we're back this week to specifically talk about Face Off, the action thriller from 1997, directed by John Woo and starring John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. This film is a classic from the genre of action, thriller, shoot 'em up. It is really a trip. It's a total popcorn film. The kind of film that you can go to the movie theater and just relax for a couple of hours and just enjoy and be entertained. Everything from the action sequences, particular lines of dialogue that have been they have been just brought into pop culture, the music that was a part of this film, and the way certain scenes were shot with slow-mo, rotating camera. There were so many ways that Mr. Wu brought his Hong Kong style of presentation to American audiences, and people ate it up. When we talk about the film, its box office, they're even now talking about doing a sequel to it, even though it's many years later. but they're talking about doing a sequel to it because it is a great, fast, fun ride at the movies. And that's our film for this evening that we're going to cover. And to help me out with this, we got my partner in crime back with me again. We got Drew Titan in the building. What's going on with you, brother? How you doing this evening?
I'm doing blessed, man. You know, I had a long day, I had a hard day, but we here, baby, we here. And we talking about one of our, I mean, you said this is a popcorn movie. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, right, man. This is a popcorn movie completely, man. Before I go any further, let me ask you a question. Do you think this film has become a cult classic? Think so?
As cult classics go, no, I wouldn't classify it like that, because this film resonates with a certain audience, and it's kind of like our generation, and it's carved out its own niche in history of cinema. But if you introduce it to someone, people will be like, oh, I dig that. You know what I mean? It's like, it still stands up. That's why I said even certain lines of dialogue,
yeah,
that found their way into pop culture, to that you could find yourself repeating something that you heard in this film, and it's not even a throwaway, but it's like you had, in other words, if you know that line, you're hip, you're up on it. You know what I mean? And it's like, but I don't know that I would define it as a cult classic. How about you? Your thoughts on that?
I would agree, but because more people need to see it and discuss it. But I would agree. However, this is right up there, and what we need to do, we need to discuss Tango and Cash, because this is on level of action. This is right up there.
That era,
it's right. And this was, if people remember, this was the reemergence. This was a part of the reemergence of John Travolta's second run in Hollywood.
Yeah, man.
Because he fell off after, you know, Dance Fever in the 70s, and then he had some things, and then he went on the decline, and Pulp Fiction came out and brought him back. And then he caught fire. He started getting a ton of work after that. And this was one of those films. When I went to this, I didn't know what to expect. But you're like, whoa. In the theater, I'm like, oh.
And it was crazy. Know what I liken it to? It's like, and not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but you know, when Denzel played the character in Training Day, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody had ever seen him play like a baddie like that, you know? Right. And because he's such a great actor, and he disappeared into that role, it was like, oh my goodness, Denzel. It's like, you know, it was kind of similar for John Travolta in this film, because the character he played was a wholesome, you know, guy that had a family. He's a detective. He has a family. You know, they're going through a little bit of a tragic phase in their lives and everything. And as we get into the plot of the film, of course, because of the plot and where it takes, we get to see Travolta turn into a bad guy,
right,
on film. And Nicolas Cage, who we had come to know in films like Con Air and stuff like that, you know, he kind of had played a couple of heroic roles and some comedic roles, and kind of in between rom-coms, but this gave you a chance to see him play a bad guy / be the guy that Travolta's character was written to be, you know. So it's like they switched personalities.
Wasn't that crazy?
on film. And it was such an innovative formula for the time. And even down to, and we could get into it, the special effects because they actually showed you, some things taking place. But we'll get to that. But yeah, this film was amazing.
He had it all.
Yeah,
He
it
had it
really
all.
did. My camera froze. I'm gonna pop out and pop back in.
Okay, I'll hold it down.
Yeah.
Hold it down. Listen, if you're anywhere close to our age and you haven't seen Face Off, highly recommend. Highly recommend. Action nonstop. I'm looking at the firearm he has. My friend has that firearm. I was at his crib today. He has that. He has that firearm. But I want to talk about John Woo. Who remembers the point where American action sequences started to adapt what they were doing in Hong Kong? John Woo, I believe he directed a lot of Chow Yun-fat films, and it was brilliant. Over here, we had to watch those films on. Blu-ray wasn't around back then. It was DVD. It was still new technology. There was something called VCD. That was like a blink of an eye. Yeah, Young DZ, hard boiled. Wow. When I first saw Chow Yun-fat, I mean, he wasn't like a martial artist, but he was that man with the guns and all of that stuff, the slow turning and shooting. Oh man, it was great. It was great. And we got to know Jet Li. We already knew. We watched martial arts films, but then when Jet Li started to do movies himself with guns and things of that nature, the kung fu in the, I want to say the 90s going into the 2000s started to reemerge, but on a different level. That's where the Matrix came from. That's that sort of the directing, the action sequences, and we started to see a bit of a turn in how we directed things. Nothing was like John Wayne, punch, kick him down a flight of steps. No doubt, Stormy, I got you. It wasn't that. The directing went for a change. And they brought in John Woo to direct the action sequences in his films. And that's why this film, in my opinion, it became an instant classic. To me, it became an instant classic. And shout out to John Woo, man. I mean, I was like, watching this, I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, Eric Jordan, Sensei will, when he gets back, he has to restart his laptop. But, we was like, I'm watching this like, oh, man, this is like ridiculous. The story plot was simple. It was cut and dry. I'm multitasking. I'm sorry, y'all. It was cut and dry. And sort of like out of sci-fi. It's like a science fiction thing. Basically, the plot is, and Stormy will read the plot when he gets back, but these two characters that you see, it's really not them. All right. They had to switch each other's faces, and actually Nicolas Cage, he has the face of the villain, and John Travolta has the face of the hero, but they had to switch each other's face because he had to immerse himself into the villain, into the villain's world. He had to become him to achieve a certain mission. I'm gonna wait for Story to get back because he'll read you the plot. And you know what drew me to this was, it was so, you can't do this in real life, but it was so anime-esque. I heard about that movie, Blood Moon. I heard about that. I gotta watch that. I heard about that. Nundizi, I heard about that. Yes, sir. It was so the plot was so like, listen, y'all, I'm a sucker for anime and like plots that are just off the wall. But if you can make a good film out of it, you got me. I'll pay my money. Like if I have nothing to do, I'll pay my money and just sit there and be like, let's see what we got. And there's a lot of hidden gems. Like we talk about Face Off. You heard me mention Tango and Cash. We're gonna cover that. I saw Tango and Cash twice in the theaters. That movie was nonstop, bro. Listen, man. Listen. We gonna cook on all of that, man. But I was up to the part where for those that don't know what the plot on Tango and Cash, on Face Off, what it's about.
Yeah, and sorry about that. For whatever reason, my laptop, I think I'm gonna have to clear the memory. That's what things froze up on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this film, and I was still able to hear you and what you were going over in my earpiece.
Right.
John Woo brought elements of what was successful in Hong Kong films to Hollywood because they hadn't seen not only his type of action that he was shooting with gunplay, because you know a lot of people may not know this about John Woo, but he came up as an apprentice to famous Shaw brother director Chong Che, who made all the great Hong Kong films of kung fu action with like David Chang, Tai Lung, and all the Venoms and so forth. So when Woo, who cut his teeth doing that, he knew all about male machismo and action and stuff like that. But he came up with some different ideas with like films like Hard Boiled and The Killer, films like that. And
you got a cash app from Eric Jordan.
Yeah, I'll get it. Thank you. But as he began to cut his teeth, films like The Last Hurrah for Chivalry, you know, which was a swordplay film, he did so much that when he switched over to this, like A Better Tomorrow, with these major Hong Kong stars, he became very popular because when they would play films at the International Cannes Film Festival, his films were being picked as like must see, you know. And America, one of the things that they would like to try to do is when they see films at Cannes, it could be an independent film, it can be a film from Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, whatever. What they would like to do is buy the rights to the film.
Yes.
And then try to remake it for Western audiences over here.
Yeah.
One example of that is in Infernal Affairs, a film that they did, and it did a horrible job, but many American people thought that film was excellent. But you would have to see the Hong Kong original version
to appreciate
how good the film really is. But what I'm getting at is they couldn't do that with John Woo films. They could not do that. They tried to make a couple of John Woo-like films, especially
never worked out.
Yeah, especially when Chow Yun-fat left Hong Kong before the takeover in 1997, because he was a big star in Hong Kong. It was him and Jackie Chan. They were the two top stars over there. And he was in the dramas and serious films, and Jackie was in the action films. Well, they tried to bring Chow Yun-fat over here and try to do some things, but it just didn't have that same flavor of when he was working with John Woo. Let me get to the cash out with Eric Jordan real quick. Thank you so much, brother EJ, for your Cash App donation. He says, made video games off the idea of this movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You could really say that, man. It's really true. And thank you again for your donation to the show.
I'm gonna share that story now.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Years ago, I was down at Chinatown, Elizabeth Street, Canal Street. The 5th precinct is on Elizabeth Street. That part of Elizabeth Street, you have a lot of what I call odds and ends stores. There's a lot of video game stores. and they sell things that for those of you that are gamers, you had access to video games that are for sale overseas, but they weren't accessible here. So Chinatown had the hookup, is what we used to call it. So one day we get word that they're filming a movie. So I'm like, oh, you know, whatever. So my day off, I went down there to be nosy, and I see Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, walking up Canal Street. And I'm like, they go Mark Wahlberg, and he was just walking, him and 3 other guys. Nobody swarmed him. And I'm looking. So I went walking down the block. I looked at him. I said, hey, man. I had my shield around my you know. So I said, hey, man. He said, oh, man, hey. Kept walking. So I'm like, what is, that's Mark Wahlberg. And I'm looking around like, okay, obviously he's in the movie. But he was walking around. I think he was eating something, too. So I'm like, what movie are they filming? But we're in Chinatown, right? Yo, listen. One person runs past me, then 2 people runs past me. I'm like, what is behind me? Chow Yun-fat got out the car. All of Chinatown stopped. They swarmed him. He's an absolute rock star.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's that dude. And he has I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He has a very distinctive face.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I said, oh, that's dude. I said, oh, obviously he's in this movie. And Mark, I know he felt good because had we had been 10 blocks up in Greenwich Village, it was only 10 blocks up, he'd have probably got mauled.
Look, interjection here. You remember Keenan Ivory Wayans' film Low Down Dirty Shame?
Yes.
There was a line of dialogue that went over a lot of people's head at the time that film came out. And it's early in the film when Keenan comes in and he's got that spray hairstyle like Carlos Boozer, you know? Because, you know, he sports a bald head, but in the movie early, the character he's playing, he's got that hairstyle. But he breaks into that office and he's having a shootout with those guys. And one of the Asian guys says, do you know who I am? I'm Chow Yun-fat with these. You know, he was talking about the guns.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that means you come with 2 egg rolls and something. He said, but
oh man, I forgot about that too.
Yeah, but that was a line of dialogue that a lot of people didn't know what that meant. But it was a throwaway line, which means that Keenan knew who Chow Yun-fat was because he put that line in the film. That was supposed to mean that the guy he was facing was a badass with his pistols. You know what I mean? But it went over a lot of people's heads. But I thought I would share that little
No, that's funny.
That was around the time that film was made, you know, Low Down Dirty Shame. But
man, that's funny, man. But that's my Chow Yun-fat story. He got mauled. He had to duck back into the truck. You know, he shook a few hands, signed a few autographs. People, you know, this was a little before. This is before like social media and things like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, you know, people who had cameras was taking pictures of him, and then he like waved, and some guy like took him by the head and put him back in the car. It was crazy, man. I was like, ooh. I said, oh, that's that guy. I said, oh shit. You know, so I was like, man, you know, so they're doing it. And then months later, that was the film. But he was an absolute rock star. Chinatown stopped.
I told you, there was a point during the mid-90s where it was Jackie Chan and Chow Yun-fat. Jackie Chan and Chow Yun-fat. And a little bit later, it became
Donnie Yen later?
No. Tony Leung, the gentleman that passed away. He self-deletion off the top of a building there. But he was a very popular star in Hong Kong. But but he was in films like The Swordsman and stuff like that, and he was in A Better Tomorrow with Tai Lung and Chow Yun-fat. It was the 3 guys in there. They were like the dynamic trio. And A Better Tomorrow had 2 sequels, and then later a 4th film that was made based on the original film and characters. But that, if you've never seen A Better Tomorrow, check it out, because it's Tai Lung is playing, and it's not martial arts. It's a modern day action flick where it's cops and robbers, cops and gangsters and stuff like that. But it's really good. A Better Tomorrow. The first one is a classic.
Wow.
But let's get to a little bit of the elements of the story for
Do you
this
follow
film.
Donnie Yen on Instagram?
I don't think so, but that's not because I'm not interested. It's because, I'm relatively new to Instagram myself, so it's a lot of people I haven't.
Find something to send you. He had a very interesting post. It was real good with all the Chinese stuntmen from Hong Kong, Japan, and everything. They're punching each other in the camera, and the scene changes. They go flying into a river, and then he gets up and punches the camera, and then it's another guy. It was funny. But anyway, it's good.
Okay, yeah. So the plot of Face Off is about special agent, FBI service agent Sean Archer survives an assassination attempt by Castor Troy. Now, Sean Archer is John Travolta. Castor Troy is Nicolas Cage. It was a terrorist for hire situation, but the bullet kills Archer's son, Michael. And Archer then engages in an extended vendetta against Troy. It culminates 6 years later in his team ambushing Troy, who is with his younger brother and accomplice, Pollux, in a remote desert airstrip. Troy goes Archer by saying he knows of a bomb that is located somewhere in Los Angeles and is set to explode in a few days. But before Archer can learn more, Troy is knocked unconscious and falls into a coma. Pollux, in custody, affirms that the bomb is real but refuses to reveal its location. So in secret, Archer reluctantly undergoes a highly experimental face transplant procedure to take on Castor Troy's face, voice, and appearance. Archer as Troy is taken to the same high security prison where Pollux is being held in order to obtain the information on the bomb's location. Troy unexpectedly awakens from his coma and discovers that his face is missing. Oh yeah, a little bit of sci-fi in here too,
You remember that scene? When he
Oh
was smoking
yeah, I do, man.
I was like, oh my God.
When it happened, right? When it happened, you were like, oh no,
Yo,
how you're watching a horror movie and something is bad getting ready to happen, and you're like, run, get out of there. It's like that's how you felt for the doctors and stuff in there when Troy woke up, because he was really a bad dude in this movie, man.
Yeah.
He was merciless. He would delete at will. He was just a dude that was the worst villain, maybe at the time in cinema.
That was funny as hell, though.
Over the top. Yeah, and it says he calls his gang, and they force Dr. Walsh to transplant Archer's face onto him. Meanwhile, Archer successfully learns the location of the bomb from Pollux, but before being informed shortly thereafter that he has a visitor. Anticipating a reunion with his colleagues and a return to his normal life, Archer instead finds Troy wearing his face. Upon revealing he has murdered everyone else who knows about the face transplant, Troy gleefully informs Archer that he looks forward to running his FBI career into the ground and ravishing his wife. And enraged Archer proceeds to strangle him, only for the guards to beat him down and take him back.
Oh man, that was bad. That was bad. That was bad.
John Travolta says to Nicolas Cage as Castor Troy, he says, "Well, you're gonna be in here for the next 100 years." Dude.
The next 100 years. I was like, oh.
Man, this movie was something else.
This movie was bad, man. This movie was all bad. Oh,
when he
man.
told old boy what he was going to do to his wife.
Yo.
It was like, you could see the horror on Travolta's face. I mean, on Nicolas Cage's face. Because he was basically playing John Travolta, and John Travolta is playing him. You know,
right.
Like, and they gave you a chance to see how both guys' temperament were as themselves, but when they did the face transplant, the imitations of one another was great, wasn't it, Drew?
Yep,
it was like, it was an amazing thing to see John Travolta's character as Nicolas Cage. And he's sitting there. Remember when he got out of jail and they were all having a party and everything, and he was sitting there, he was like, "Why are you sitting there with that look on your face? Like you just had sex with your mom."
Yo, when you think about it, this movie was dogged out, man.
It was. It was a wild trip at the theater, man. I remember the first time I saw this movie. The whole theater was just like roaring with cheering, laughter, shouting, yelling, whatever, at appropriate moments, you know, in the film with whatever was taking place. This was a great time at the movies.
This movie had it all. This movie had it all. Oh man. I forgot how funny that was. He said, "You're gonna be here for the next 100 years." Oh
man, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy. What could you do?
I forget, how did he ended up getting out of prison? Because of course he had to escape. He got to save his family, and he got to stop this guy. He got to stop the bomb. He got to start all that stuff, man. I forget, how did he get out of the prison?
Well, you know, he started a riot or something.
Yes, that's what it was. He started a riot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was hilarious though. He starts a riot. He gets out. You remember, and I'm jumping around a bit. He goes home. He goes home, sees his wife, and he's in the shadows. And she's like, "Yo, step out." And he's like, "Yo, don't look at me," because he has the face of the man that killed his son.
Right.
You know, I was like, "Oh, that's got to be rough."
I know, right?
That's got to be rough, but how do you?
What was even rougher was when she told him, when he was finally able to relate to her that it was really him and everything, and she was like, "Sean, do you know that this man and I have been living like husband and wife this whole time?" Without saying the most wretched things. See, that's when movies were still doing things subtly enough to just leave it to you here, because when she said that to him, that means that, you know, dude was buck wild having his way with his wife, because she thought it was him.
Yep.
Let me get to this cash app real quick.
Go ahead.
We got a cash app from Saints. Let me see here. Excuse me, I had it pulled up. Saints 9612 says, "Imagine we had the technology of Face Off." Oh yeah. Let me tell you something. When they made that film, they been had that technology before the film was made. They always do subtle little things like that with films, just to drop elements in there to give you something to think about, and also to basically desensitize the audience to what can really, you know, the possibility. Yeah.
Man, that woman up in Connecticut had, I don't mean to laugh, she had a pet chimpanzee.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. You know what that chimp did to her? Well, she got face off for real. She has a whole new face, but nothing moves. She's just sitting there like, yeah.
Yeah, that
like
was
a jack-o'-lantern. That chimpanzee ripped her face off. Literally ripped her face off. Why do you have a pet chimpanzee? Things just start kicking her ass all over the house, and it's ridiculous. But that technology is kind of real.
Yeah, that, you know, people who do that kind of stuff, man, it just kind of, to me, it's like you want bad things to happen when you invite the unknown. It's like, leave those animals alone, man. Leave them alone. Huh?
Can't train those things. That is a wild animal. That is a wild animal. They belong somewhere.
Right.
Don't believe that. But anyway, oh, and you know what though? If you see the video, just to digress on that for a second, of the chimpanzee, this video, he gets out and he's running around the neighborhood in a diaper, in a shirt on. And the police are pointing the guns at him. They didn't shoot the damn thing. And I'm like, how do you show more restraint for a chimpanzee than a black person? If that chimp ran up on me, he's getting it. I'm unloading the entire magazine in his chest, son of mass. Boom, 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 boom. Why'd you shoot him? It's a wild animal. He already done ate Shorty's face. I'm not gonna be next. Ridiculous. That really happened, y'all. Stories on YouTube. Really happened. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But this film, it opened up to a box office budget of 80 million. That's what it cost to make. It was released June 27th, 1997 in the United States. The total box office return on it was 245.7 million.
Whew.
Yeah.
They made the money back.
Face Off was a success, man. And it was really entertaining. And like I said, even down to the camera shots, how John Woo likes to capture the action and move the camera around the subjects, and using the slow-mo feature, like when they got off the plane at the airport and Castor Troy's coat was blowing in the wind and you could see his guns in his back waistband.
Yeah.
That was so cool, man. And that music was playing, doom, 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 doom. You know, it's like, man, it was so dramatic, right? It was like, but cool at the same time. And this image that I put up here on the screen that shows the two guys kind of bearing down on one another with their firearms. You know, this is like, now imagine you got Travolta and you got Cage, and the personalities are switched up, but the antics, you know, it was like, it was really, I thought it was well done, man. I thought it was well done. And just for the macabre sake, here I provided this image here, Drew.
Ooh.
When they took Travolta's face and decided to take it off and put it on Nicolas Cage's face, and here's the other one.
Yeah. Do you remember? And this is what I'm saying. This is how you know. It was kind of, they have to go in there and remove the skin off of the muscles. It was all bad. I'm watching this in the theater like, ooh. Oh man, I forgot about this scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was rough. Look at Young Hollywood. He said this was the first movie he saw in theaters. He was 4 years old. My God, brother. Yeah, you young for real.
Yeah.
I went to go see this with a chick, as a matter of fact. Went to go see this. I ain't getting no draws. Struck out that night, but I enjoyed the movie though.
Yeah.
Man, that was bugged out. Tay, what's going on? Salute to the chat.
Speaking of getting the draws, Nicolas Cage's character in this film was real flamboyant and aggressive with the ladies, which made it even more horrifying when you had to think about what he was doing to Travolta's wife when he was going home.
Bro, listen.
Remember, he was suffering because he had gotten shot when his son was deleted by Castor Troy. So he was in this depression state anyway. So he, you know, as far as his love life at home, he was kind of like...
You know what's crazy though, Stormy? It's called Face Off, not Penis Off. She didn't know that that's not the junk that she married. She didn't know that.
She was too busy enjoying the fact that he had come back around, you know, because like I was getting ready to say, he was withdrawn before the surgery and everything. He was withdrawn and wasn't into her and stuff. And then all of a sudden he shows, oh, he's back to life. And even the daughter, remember, she went out there to try to go out with a dude, and the dude was trying to SA her, and she come running in the house, and it showed Nicolas Cage as John Travolta telling the daughter, dress up like Halloween and ghouls will try to get in your pants.
So he was kind of parenting.
Right. And he pulled out Switchblade and he showed her, you see this? He was like, he was like, next time you run into a situation, he's like, you see, you take this. And he told her what to do with it. And it was like, you know, and she was like, cool, you know, because that was like something that John Travolta wouldn't do.
Right.
But all of a sudden, Dad is suddenly cool because he kind of on the wild side now.
Yeah. He did some parenting. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tay, he was right. But I still had a problem with, I'm like, you know what? As a man, let's say this happened to your wife. As soon as those clothes come off, it's like, wait a minute. What you been going through? You know what I'm saying? You should be able to tell. She didn't tell. She was just like, I'm just getting some junk. And it was Face Off. And that was the thing. They had similar physiques, but still, she's supposed to know.
Yeah. But you know, that's that part of, you know, the cinematic experience that you kind of like leave room for the imagination of, you know, buying into the story, so to speak, and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just giving her a hard time.
But the action scenes in here were pretty darn good too, man. Very violent, you know, very much Hong Kong style action. And that thing I talked about, the rotating camera, because John Woo was an expert at that. But not only would he move the camera around the subjects, then he would move the camera around the weapons that they had in their hands. You know how it would change. The image would start turning around them. Then the close-up would be about the weapons in their hands, pointed in each other's face, and all of that kind of stuff. That was so well done, man. It was never anything like that in American cinema before that.
That's right.
It was never anything in American cinema like that before that.
Yeah, America needed to go to that next level, and that's why they reached out to him. And it was this, and then, you know, fight scenes with the Matrix. It was the arrival of the Kung Fu style of face-offs in the movies. You know, even Jackie Chan when he came around and did Shanghai Nights, or Shanghai Noon, and then Shanghai Nights was in Shanghai Noon was the first one, I believe. Yeah, you know. But we already knew who Jackie Chan was, but this John Woo genre, this was something different. We ain't never seen anything like this on our shores. Hell of a job, man.
Tay says, he said, Papa's got a brand new bag. Oh my God. Yeah. I knew he was saying that, and they was playing James Brown. She said, this was my favorite part, was the surgery. And oh my God, he was such a creep to the daughter.
Yeah.
He was. You saw him when he was he was in the choir and he was grabbing that girl by her behind and stuff.
Oh, that was in the beginning of the movie, yeah.
Yeah. Castor Troy was something else, man.
He was a maniac.
I take it that you just came in, but Drew was going over earlier about the scene because Castor Troy was in a coma. So they performed that surgery on John Travolta to take his face and put it on John Travolta. And he woke up out of the coma and his face was gone. And when he grabbed the mirror, Castor Troy was so crazy and deranged. He grabbed the mirror. He realized his face, because he reached up and something wasn't feeling right, and his face was gone. And he grabbed that mirror and he looked in the mirror. They never showed it, but they showed him like from an angle or the back or something. But he was looking in the mirror and he was going. He was laughing. He was laughing, yo. And he took that, and then when he saw John Travolta's face over there in that fluid or whatever, he went right after them doctors. He was like, y'all gonna put that face on me. And then he killed everybody. Man, I tell you, this movie was something else, bro. It was something else.
He said, y'all gonna put that face on me. Man, this movie was crazy, man. And like I said, I'm a sucker for things like this. This could have easily have been an anime or something, and I still would have liked it. Still would have liked it. But the casting was also incredible. These guys are really good actors, man. These guys are really good.
And it was a perfect joint venture to cast them in a film together, because I don't know their ages. I mean, we could look it up and see, but they're pretty close in age. But what was really interesting is this: for the type of actors that they were, to have them playing certain characters and mid-movie switch them to playing the other guy's character, and how they pulled it off so well. It was amazing. And to see John Travolta as a bad guy, because he was always a goody two-shoes in the films. And of course, Nicolas Cage's character was a little more risque, but at the same time, to see him playing a good guy or a vulnerable guy, like I said, when he was sitting up and Castor's family and friends was all partying and celebrating, and he was just sitting there looking like, man, I'm messed up. He was like, my life is ruined. That's how he was thinking. But yeah, boy, man,
this was a fun film. I'm gonna watch it again. This was a fun ass film, man. It really was, man.
Is it on 4K yet? Because I have a DVD of it. I know
it should be.
I don't know if it's on 4K. If it's not on 4K,
this is a movie that has to be on 4K. I know as soon as the DVD technology started hitting, this was one of those things. I know my boy ran out and got this immediately, man. It's got to be on 4K. It has to be. I'd be a little surprised if it wasn't. It's got to be on 4K.
Let's see. I'm trying to type it up and see right now. Yeah, it's on 4K. It's on 4K.
It has to be.
I'm gonna have to pick that up on 4K.
Now the ending. Thank you, Justin Cash. Appreciate that. Now the ending. You know, the big old melee. He caught up to him.
Yeah.
He grabbed that shard of glass. And he started cutting his face. I said, this dude is sick.
Yeah,
He is
man.
sick. Oh my gosh, man. I love, man. You know what we need to do a show on? It just dawned on me. The most lunatic villains in films, like the craziest ones.
Shoot, Castor Troy is up there. He's up there.
Castor Troy's up
there, brother.
Homie from that played Aquaman when he was in Fast and the Furious, he's up there. He was crazy.
Yeah, that character that Jason Momoa played.
Yep.
That dude was really insane, bro.
Oh, what's his name? What's his name? If we rate him, you know, I don't want to give away the show, but you remember when Robert De Niro played what's his name? He got locked up and he saw tormenting that family. That was the lawyer that got him locked up.
Oh, Cape Fear.
Cape Fear. Jesus
Christ, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And who else? I was just thinking I was a character and I just lost it that quick. Gerard Depardieu when he was playing that character in No Country for Old Men.
Oh man,
that dude right there, boy.
That was sick,
right? That guy was crazy, bro. Can you stand still for just a moment, please? Stand still. Took that hydraulic air pump, put it up to the head.
That was crazy. Yo, look what Young DZ put that up. Young DZ, what he just said, that right there.
Hold on a second.
Ichi the Killer. Now look.
Yeah, I have that. I have that.
You have that?
Yeah.
Do you know the prequel is the anime, I think? You saw the anime?
I didn't see the anime, but
the anime is the prequel
in my collection.
The anime is the prequel to this. Lord have mercy. If y'all have not seen this, this is sick. Ichi the Killer is sick. That villain, oh my, bro. Like, you ever been watching something, you just got quiet, you're not eating nothing, you're just watching like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I know I had a plate of food. I'm always eating when I'm watching something. And I'm just watching this and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, yo, they sell this in America? Bro, nah, bro, that was crazy. That was crazy. But, you know, the Japanese, they got some strange... Legend of the Overfiend was... I ain't never seen nothing like that in the 90s. That was, like, ridiculous. But anyway. We need to do a show, like, top 10 insane characters, insane villains in movies.
Let me write it down in our journal.
Yep. It could be from any genre. Oh, that Ichi the Killer, that bothered me. I had to go. That was another movie that made me had to go watch a Disney film to get my happy back. That was ridiculous. JP said them Japs is crazy. Yo, bro, that I ain't never seen nothing like that. That imagination is different. That imagination is different.
Yeah.
So you said they consider it a sequel to Face Off? It got to be different main characters. Has to be.
Yeah, I don't know, but I had read something about that recently, just like in the past year. I don't think anything has become of it yet, but yeah, they were talking about making it.
Well, same technology, well, same premise, but I want more stuff blowing up, decent storyline, and who would do the film? And before y'all say The Rock, there's no who's in Hollywood that's his
You
size.
know who? What would be a great twist on it? To have 2 black guys,
Yeah, that'd be dope.
2 of the top black actors who are kind of.
So we got Idris Elba, because he's hot in these streets right now. Idris Elba, and who else?
Idris Elba and someone like Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah.
You know, that would be great.
Anthony Mackie. Yeah. How about Anthony Mackie and Michael B. Jordan? Yeah. Michael B. Jordan loves anime. He said Keanu Reeves. Yeah. You know, that'd be dope. Keanu Reeves and who else? How about Keanu Reeves and what's his name?
You know, he's supposed to be doing another Constantine film.
I like that film. I like the Constantine film.
I saw some artwork of him, and he had the blonde hair this time. So, you know, when he did the film years ago, he didn't dye his hair blonde.
So, is this a sequel or a remake?
I think it's a remake, but it's supposed to be with Keanu Reeves again.
Yeah. For y'all that don't know, Constantine is a DC character. You know. So yeah,
that film was pretty good, and it was kind of went under the radar. You remember the scene when he had the demon and he had the mirror over the bed?
Yeah.
He was like trying to trap the beast spirit in that mirror. Man, I was like, how did they come up with some of these concepts? I was like, man, that was crazy though.
That was weird. You know what I would have liked to have seen a sequel to? But I'm not mad because they left it alone. You know, Stormy, did we do a show about movies we wouldn't have mind seeing a sequel to?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay. Did I mention League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Yep, you did. When we did that show, you mentioned that.
I would love to see the sequel. You know, it's not like we were left hanging, but Alan Quartermain, they brought the body back to Africa. He can't die there, so he came out the grave.
They say that Sean Connery hated that film. He hated that.
Really?
Film. Yeah, he didn't enjoy that at all. I think he got into it with the director or something.
Oh no!
But yeah, he really didn't like that film.
That was I loved it, man. I loved it. Me and my dad went to go see it. Yeah, Young DZ, Iron Number 4 left us hanging. It sure did.
Yeah.
It sure did. Damn. What about what you call it? Sheesh. I'm having a brain fart. With Wolverine. He played the vampire hunter.
Oh, Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, yeah. Van Helsing. That was I would like to have seen a sequel to that, but it's weird because all of those things got animes. Van Helsing got an anime.
Yeah, they were kind of just grabbing Hugh Jackman and throwing him in stuff after he got a little popular from the first X-Men film.
Yeah. He was getting a lot of work.
Everything. Yeah.
He was getting a lot of work. Salute to him, man. Counter said they trying to figure
Beckinsale in Van Helsing too, because you know she came from the vampire films.
Yeah,
Underworld.
she was in it.
Yeah, those first couple of Underworld films were really good, weren't they?
Underworld was hard, and you know what? Again, that was a popcorn film, and it gave me enough storyline. They didn't overdose on the CGI. I had enough fighting scenes. Again, vampires running around doing the kung fu.
And we covered that. We covered that film series. And I think you told me that the big black guy had a lot to do with the writing of the story or something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know
that
his
guy
name.
with the deep voice. I don't know why they don't use him in more stuff, because he could play a hell of a character, especially with that voice.
Yeah, he I didn't even know that. You know, he had a lot to do with the writing. I was like, oh snap! Put himself in it. Didn't make himself a main character, nothing like that. And then they gave you the prequel story of him, and it was great, man. I really did like that. Underworld. That was really good, man. That was really good. How many Underworld films? 3 of them, right? Or were they 4?
4. I think it's 4.
4 of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was good. That was real good. Vampires with the kung fu. That was crazy. But yeah,
did you ever see the movie that The Rock was in, Zoom? Doom,
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. It was good?
What was interesting about it is, you know, it's set in space, based on the video game and everything. But when
I did see that.
Yeah, when they got to the action scenes, they put it like the camera in video game mode. It was like
video game. Yeah. Yeah, that. Whew. Yeah, that's rough. I did see Doom. I forgot. What are the odds? Like, if they do the face-off sequel, will it really be a sequel, or will they do like a face-off reloaded type of thing?
I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna be. You know, sometimes certain films don't need sequels or need to be remade, and that might be one. You know, because at the time that it was made, there were elements of how the story took place that were not a part of American cinema. Like I said, the John Woo introduction, you know, it's like now action is so over the top, it's crazy. And it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's like last night I was watching this movie called Paranoiac. And it's an old Oliver Reed film from like the late 50s or early 60s, right? I think it's the early 60s. This is about a dysfunctional family, and the subtleties of the story is like someone being off track, and the implications are there, but also certain lines of dialogue and behaviors. It's like there's stories being told, and you know, being old enough, smart enough to see it. And it's like back then, for cinematic audiences, you didn't have to hit them over the head with stuff. You could imply things, and people would be like, "Oh my goodness, he's really insane," you know, that kind of thing. Now you have to literally show someone being insane, or you gotta, you know, and it's like, and the audience kind of reacts to that and behaves off of that. Where I always love the subtlety of telling a story. That's just like when a door is slowly closing and you know something's getting ready to go on behind that door, but you don't get to see. And you might hear somebody go, "No, no," and the door closes. And in your mind, you're like, "Dang, dude got jacked up." And it's like, but you don't know how jacked up he got because you weren't shown. So your imagination will conjure up what you think took place. And whatever you think will be different from what I think, because we never really saw it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I love that.
Man. Oh man, no, door closed. You're like, what the hell happened?
Yeah. That's one of the best ways to, you know, that's like, remember the classic shower scene in Psycho.
Psycho, yeah.
When Janet Leigh was in the shower, and that Norman Bates pull that curtain back, and she was like, ah. And then they showed the hand raise up with the knife like this, and she was like, no. And then you saw the hand come down, but they didn't show it striking her. They showed the hand coming down. They show her screaming, the hand coming down. They show her screaming, and each time the hand came back up, there was a little bit more blood on the knife than was the last shot. And they showed it like 3 or 4 times. And then later they showed, and the film was in black and white, of course. They showed the blood running down the drain in the shower, but not like gory blood, but just the water had turned dark, you know, and it's going down the drain. And you never knew how she was struck or whatever, but you knew it was a horrible moment.
That was the original LGBTQ. He was a damn cross-dresser.
That dude was crazy, man.
That was so crazy.
Psycho 2 was really something too, man, because, you know, he came back in that film. I was just having a toasted cheese sandwich. That lady, when she sat down at the table and he hit her in the head with that shovel. Wait a minute. I know I just blabbered my mouth out, but did you see that scene, bro?
Are we going to hell for laughing at that? You understand? You remember the sound?
Yes, of course. That's why I'm laughing. Dude, I thought I was watching Reggie Jackson in the October World Series. Mr. October.
Oh my God.
Dude.
That's funny, man.
He literally, that's funny. What you call twisting somebody's cap back.
That is funny as hell, man.
Man. Norman Bates was crazy, bro. He got to go on the top 10 list of crazy mofos.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's crazy. He was nuts, man. The Bates Motel. My God, man. Get out of here. No, thank you. That thing said, boom. I was like, oh. That was crazy. That's funny. Shout out to Norman Bates.
Man, I tell you, it's something else, man. But to be able to recall this stuff, and it's like, man, culture was something else, wasn't it, bro?
Oh, man, totally.
Culture was something else.
Totally was, man.
Salute to Cooking with the Champ. I see you out there, bro. Good brother. To see you out there.
My gosh, man, that's funny as hell. Changing some things up here. All right, we good.
Mac of the South, what's good with you? For some of y'all coming in late, man, you have to go back and check out, because we pretty much went through the film. What I would like to do briefly is talk about John Woo and the films that he made. You know, from 1969 to 1985, his career in Hong Kong was very strong. From 1986 to 1992, he ushered in what was called the heroic bloodshed films. And those are the films like The Killer, A Better Tomorrow 1 and 2, Hard Boiled, and you know, those type of fare. And he was just Amazing. And then they brought him into America, and he was making films like Hard Target with Van Damme
Uh-huh.
and Broken Arrow with John Travolta again. Uh, Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise. He directed that. And you could tell it was a John Woo action film. Red Cliff, which was a return to a Chinese production that he made that film based on a historic element of Chinese generals going to war across the sea. I have that Red Cliff 1 and 2. I have that on DVD. It's amazing. It's amazing. But he's done some tremendous stuff throughout the years. His Kung Fu films that included Golden Harvest films like The Dragon Tamers or The Hand of Death, which starred Jackie Chan, also known as The Countdown in Kung Fu, and The Last Hurrah for Chivalry, which I mentioned that earlier.
Right.
All of this was like amazing, to see this man do what he was doing. But for anyone who hasn't checked out A Better Tomorrow 1 and 2, please go and watch those films. If you like gangster movies, if you like shoot 'em ups, if you like films like what was that film with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, Heat? If you like films like that, A Better Tomorrow is right up your alley, coming out of Hong Kong. Amazing. What was I gonna say? Yeah. Leslie Chung is the actor I was trying to think of from A Better Tomorrow. He had become a huge box office star over in Asia. He would play all of these leading roles, sometimes romantic roles and stuff like that. But the amazing thing about him was that he was a person that played for the other team. So it was interesting that his career was centered around playing such leading roles, male lovers and stuff like that. But in his personal life, he was, he liked the same sex. And when he passed away, it was alleged that he was suffering through some depression and stuff like that.
Damn.
But he took a tumble off of a high rise. Yeah, Leslie Chung.
It's tragic.
Very tragic, because he was a very talented actor, man. Leslie Chung, very talented actor. I mean, he could hold his. He was kind of like the. If you want to talk about an A-list actor from America during the early 2000s or something. I mean, let's just say like from the mid to late 80s through the 90s. He was known for films like A Chinese Ghost Story, Days of Being Wild, Farewell My Concubine.
Damn, what a name.
Yeah, he was a top actor, bro. Him passing away was like the equivalent of like when Bruce passed away. It's like,
wow,
he was just that type of a actor who had that type of esteem,
Made him jump off a damn building. That's crazy. That's rough, man. That is rough.
He leapt from a 24th floor of the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. He left a note saying that he had been suffering from depression.
Go to therapy, man. What you fucking run to the top of a building for, man? It's tragic, man. It's tragic. That is awful. It's awful. Just awful. Therapy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Therapy. For real. Yeah, I can't wait till we do that other show. The craziest villains. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. But ladies and gentlemen, I do recommend, if you never saw Face Off, watch this film. Even if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it in a while, it's a fun film, man.
Yeah.
It's not a long film. It's a fun film. It gets straight to the point. And to me, this was an instant classic. This was damn fun, man. I'm gonna go watch it again. I haven't seen it in a few years. I'm definitely gonna go watch this again. Definitely. Absolutely.
They're credited as John Travolta as Sean Archer / Castor Troy, and Nicolas Cage is cast as Castor Troy / Sean Archer. So
that's funny as hell, man.
Just that right there is like, just go watch the movie and you'll enjoy it. You know?
You'll see it. You'll see it, man.
Like I said, those lines of dialogue in there, you know, it's like things that you just wouldn't forget, you know.
Yeah.
I told you when his boy was looking at him, it was John Travolta as Castor Troy. He's like, why you got that look on your face like you just messed with your mom? You know, it was like, that was so hilarious. Thinking he just said it so casual like that, because he knew that Castor was like a weird dude and everything, and he was sitting up there while they were all having what they consider fun and everything, and he was being a Debbie Downer, you know.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah. But let's get some final thoughts, bro, because I know you got your show coming up. This is another one that we really enjoyed talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. If y'all haven't seen it or haven't seen this in a long time, I recommend it. This is a damn good film. It's, you know, get yourself a nice little plate of something to eat, something to drink, and just watch it. It's not a long film. You know, when you got some downtime, find it. It's somewhere on Netflix or somewhere. You'll find it. You know, Prime or something. And it's well written. The storyline is nice and science fiction-esque, and a lot of gunplay, a lot of things blowing up, and the good guy wins at the end. But there's a lot of like old-ish moments. So yeah, I recommend it, man, for real.
Yeah.
Well, another slam dunk, Stormy, and we'll be back next Monday. Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to say, you know, to everybody that joined us tonight and came in a little late, please go back and rewind to the beginning, because this is really a cool one. You know, we just had a lot of fun with it, recalling this film. I don't think there's been anything like that since, but it's been a lot of over the top stuff. But this movie had a real coolness to it, and we can thank the likes of John Woo for that. You know, so. With that being said, we're going to get ready to get on up out of here. I appreciate it. Everybody that came out, man. You know, shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we're going to get on up out of here. Take that positive energy over to Pep Talk, which is coming up in about 10 minutes. So you guys got a chance to go to the restroom, get your beverage together and whatever you're going to snack, and enjoy what Drew has to offer. What's your subject this evening, bro?
Wash, rinse, repeat. Everything that we do as a community, people latch on to what we do, and once they get what they need, they abandon ship, and everything that we do as Black people gets compromised. It's no longer a Black movement. It becomes a minority LGBTQ or XYZ, a white woman movement, and they crash the party and leave us hanging. So we're going to discuss it.
Okay.
We're going to discuss it.
All right, well, cool. Well, I'm there, and thanks for everything this evening, man. I really enjoyed this one as well, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. because we got some good stuff in mind for you. Just keep up with it. You know, we'll keep churning them out.
Yeah.
But salute.